About 36 hours ago, I was fully prepared to spend the better part of today's show telling all the worrywart who-dats to not spend much time fretting about Jordyn Tyson's injury. Yep, I was all set to offer proof of how the bad hammy has been overcome before and to tell all you haters just to keep on hating. Then, poof, the karma gods of football paid a visit and said, "Hey, Derry, stop being a D-bag and stop telling people how to feel. Just in case you think injuries aren't a big deal, bam! Take that, Alvin Kamara. Boom! You too, Audric Estime. Who did we leave out? Oh, yeah, defense. Bada bing, Quincy Riley." Indeed, the list of walking wounded among the New Orleans Saints is beginning to get a little ridiculous. And I'm here to spend today apologizing to Saint Karma and anyone else I pissed off up there. Who knows? Maybe we'll even discuss the team's second preseason game against the Rams. That's coming up on Saturday. And at some point, we will also break down the AFC and NFC North as Zach, Gabe, and UBN and I make our picks. We might be positive, but I think not. We'll see. So say a little prayer, and I hope I don't tear my ACL before the end of the show or something like that. Our Father, who art in heaven, the Dattitude podcast is next.
Ready to hear the straight scoop on local and national sports? It's time for Jim Derry's take on the Saints, LSU, what betting lines to ponder, and more. He's got opinions, he's got insight, and he's got Dattitude. And he'll always tell you the way it is, or at least the way he thinks it is.
What is up, Dattitude family? I know it's up. The number of players on the injury report is up. You know what else is up? Let's see if we can get through an entire show without another Saint getting injured. That's right. We're calling for miracles on Dattitude. Episode number 533, presented by Evangeline Securities for a Thursday, August the 20th, 2026. I can't even read. In case you're new here, that's right. I don't need to read this one. I know this one by heart. In case you're new here, my name is Jim Derry, and I will be very sarcastic and a smart ass for about the next, 90, maybe 100 minutes. We'll see what's going to happen. We don't have Douglas Mouton, as I promised. He is going through some, in case you don't know this, Doug Mouton was scheduled to be on the show today. One last time before he goes to his new gig, where he is the morning anchor of WWL's early show. We were texting back and forth the other day. He's got rehearsals going on today. Told me he is one of those guys, and I used to be like this, maybe not quite this late, but his average go to sleep time, I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, his average go to sleep time was like 3 to 4 a.m. Now that he is the morning anchor for WWL beginning on Monday, he has to get up at 1. So as much as I would love the chance to be on TV, not that anybody would want to see me on TV on a regular basis. I already go on about, besides this show, if you count this show, then, twice a week. But other than this show, I go on, twice a month. And that's plenty for me. I can't imagine, as much as I think that would be fun, I cannot fathom waking up at 1 a.m., which means you have to really, even if you only sleep 6 hours, my Shaw math tells me I'd have to go to bed by 7 p.m., which means I would never be able to watch night baseball games. I wouldn't be able to watch Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football. I probably still haven't watched playoff football in the Super Bowl and stuff like that. But think about how much your life would change if you had to wake up at 1 a.m. every day. No thanks. I ain't doing it. I can't fathom a job that would be that important or want to do it that much. But thanks to all the people who do, because I certainly get up and watch our local news here. I kind of flip around. I'm not going to give anyone any priority because I do. I flip around. I watch all the channels at some point. So just to see what's going on and make sure I don't miss anything, especially now that I'm back in the news, working in news. But today, I'm here to talk to you about what's on today's show. You can see the title slide down there at the bottom. Saints injuries keep piling up. And I wasn't kidding. I was trying to make it fun and all that in the intro, but I mean, it's crazy when you think about the injuries that have piled up. But it's not just the Saints. We're going to get into some of the other ones. Saints, Brian Brisset out for the year. Dylan Radin's out for the year. I don't want to forget anybody, so that's why I'm looking. Cam Jordan's got a hammy. Is that going to last in week one? Jordyn Tyson's hammy, very well documented. Quincy Riley's got a groin injury. Alvin Kamara, newest to the injury report, got a knee injury. Now Audric Estime, I didn't even know he was hurt at all. He's got a foot injury. All these injuries, according to NOLA.com, could last into the regular season. Now, probably all of them won't. When you look at, the chances that but even if they all do, let's say they all do, Saints aren't the only ones. It's crazy. So anyway, we're going to talk about injuries. How much should we be worried about them? Zach has been coming on every Thursday to give his predictions. I was going to actually have him come on and kind of take Doug's place, and we're going to talk, but his computer broke. So everyone has ditched me, even UBN. UBN is flying to Vegas. He's not even going to be here. So just you, Gabe, and me. So maybe it's a mono-e Thursday of sorts. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we'll see what happens going on today. Before we move on, let me tell you about reminding you about subscribing to the Dattitude podcast on YouTube. If you haven't already done so, consider supporting the channel by giving this thing a thumbs up, a like, and click on the little bell to receive notifications when we go on the air live, which is every Monday and Thursday at 9 a.m. on all these same bat channels. We're also on Facebook as well. You can find us there and catch our shorts on TikTok and on YouTube. If you want to talk to me after the fact, you can find me on X at Jim Derry Jr. Email me at jim@jimderry.com. What is different about the show? You type in your comments. We hope we have a lot of them today. How many do we have right now? Oh, not too many right now. Y'all better get cracking. Today's a perfect day. If you have never commented, we had a lot of newbies on Monday. We had a lot of new people on Monday. If you have not commented only a few times, today's a perfect day to get in there and tell me your thoughts on what's going on with the injuries. Are you worried? What is your level of concern from 1 to 10? Tell me your level. That's not today's poll question. That's coming up in just a minute. Our poll question does not have to do with injuries. So if you want to tell me, what is your level of concern? That's a secondary poll question. If 1 is you're not concerned in the least bit, they all work themselves out, it is what it is, or 10, sound the alarms, call your friends, say a prayer for me because I am super duper worried. My level of concern is a 10. Somewhere in between. What is your level of concern? A couple things before we get started this morning and tell you about our friends. Gabe and I are going to get into this besides our picks. I want to talk about a report that I saw this morning. It was actually on, can't remember whether it was Bleacher Report or the Athletics newsletter. But and I know that Matt Moscone has talked about this as well. But Jack Pyburn, did you see this? Jack Pyburn, who played in this past week's Buccaneers a preseason game, has been cleared by a court. If he wanted to go back to college and play for LSU, he theoretically could. Now, I don't know the ins and outs of all this. Apparently, it was him and 15 other players. It's going to get appealed, so it's not like tomorrow he could be back wearing purple and gold. However, Gabe says he knows the ins and outs on this, so we're going to talk about this when he comes on for his segment. I'm sure Gabe will not let me forget. So that's coming up in a little bit after all of our Saints talk, of course. And related to the Saints a little bit, Vita Vea, did you see this yesterday? Vita Vea, all the squabbling with the Bucks. Would he, should the Saints offer him a deal, try to get him in a trade? No, of course they were never going to do this because they, first of all, even if they could find a way to get the Bucks to trade him to a division opponent, which, Gabe said 0.0. I said like 0.4 that it was going to happen. But I didn't think they were going to trade him at all. And guess what? They didn't. Came out, yesterday? That Vita Vea, a 1 year, $30 million extension. That is some crazy numbers for defensive linemen. Where are we going? And I mean, I think I know the answer to this, but anyway. So that happened yesterday, I believe. We're going to get to our Saints talk in just a minute. I want to throw up our poll question today so you can have a good idea of what's coming up later on. You see all at the bottom across the title slide coming up on today's show. our NFC North and AFC North picks, week 3 of our 4-week series on us predicting the divisions, all 4 of us. That is Zach, Gabe, UBN, and myself. Today's are going to be interesting as I put these together. Today's picks are very interesting because a lot of people believe, as I think I believe this, that maybe the North and both sides, if you put them together, are they the best divisions in football? I mean, I would say this. If you put the AFC North and the NFC North together, and you put the AFC West and the NFC West together, and you had 4 divisions of 8 instead of 8 divisions of 4, I don't think there's any question that the North would be the best, right? Spoiler alert, I think the NFC North is better than the AFC North. I think the NFC North is the best division in football, my opinion, from top to bottom. Because this year, I don't think anyone would be shocked if any of the 4 teams won the NFC North. I would be kind of surprised if one in particular. I'm not going to give too much away. But I think all 4 of those teams, I certainly wouldn't be shocked if all 4 had a record better than of 9-8 or better, which meant they all had winning records. Would you be? No. Just like you wouldn't be completely shocked if everyone in the NFC South had a losing record, 8-9 or worse. I wouldn't be shocked if every team in the NFC South had a winning record. Now, I would be shocked if it happened in the AFC South because of, We're getting to that. By the way, I didn't finish my coffee yet, so you can see through it. A little coffee. Because I'm not hyped up enough. I need to have more caffeine in my life. That's what I need this morning. Anyway, so our poll question of the day, some of you have already voted. If you're listening after the fact, I'll read it to you. Who will have the best season of these 5 teams, but 2 of them we put together because we can. If you're wondering why I put the bottom 2 together, it's because with the poll system that we use here on StreamYard, you only have the option of 4. And I'm thankful for that, by the way. I don't give StreamYard a lot of props, but I've looked at when we went solo in November, I looked at a few different systems, and I had been using StreamYard. StreamYard is the most expensive, but it's by far the best one. So I started messing around with some other ones, and I said, you know what? I'm just going to spend the money. I hope I recoup it in the end from our watchers and from YouTube and whatever else. And we have, thank goodness, and our sponsors, which I'm getting to in a minute. But StreamYard, we're so thankful for having this option. So anyway, if you want to vote in today's poll, we'll show this multiple times today. Who will have the best season in 2026? Type in the number 1 of these 4 teams, or 5 teams actually. Of these teams, if you think the Baltimore Ravens are going to have the best season out of these teams, type in the number 1. If you think it's going to be the Cincinnati Bengals, you homers, you Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase fans, you homers. If you think it's going to be the Cincinnati Bengals, type in the number 2. If you think it's going to be the Chicago Bears, then type in the number 3. And if you think it's going to be either the Detroit Lions or the Green Bay Packers, type in the number 4. I will give you my answer when we get closer to the time we talk about the North, which is going to be at the end of the show. But feel free to vote. You don't have to vote this second. You can vote throughout the show until we close the poll. Again, number 1, and just the numeral 1, no pound sign, no NO period 1, not 1 and then your reason. You can give your reason in a second comment. Type in the number 1 if you think it's the Ravens. Type in the number 2 if it's the Bengals. Type in the number 3 if it's the Bears. And type in the number 4 if it's either the Lions or the Packers. And you can give your answer, again, in a separate comment if you choose number 4. All right. Got to take that off the screen because we got to get on with the show here. We got so much to talk about Saints-wise. But before we do all that, let me tell you about our friends at Evangeline Securities. Of course, they're a company that can help you decide if it's the right time to sell your family-run or privately held business. And just as importantly, and I mean just as importantly, they can help you figure out what that business is worth. I've been thinking about retiring for a while. I don't even know how to get started. I have no idea what my business is worth. How do I start this thing, Jim Derry? Well, I'm going to tell you. Someone you know, and it doesn't have to be you. It could be someone you know or someone you love. Have them reach out to Evangeline's founding partner, Nick Braden. He will start by scheduling a complimentary valuation from his office either on Poydras Street or in Lafayette. And from there, you'll be well informed to begin to make the decision on if you want to proceed. If you decide you want to proceed from there, okay, I like the number. Let's go on with it. What do I do now? Wow, you're going to have to wait a second. We'll fill you in more later in the show. In the meantime, you can check them out at www.evangelinesecurities.com. And, oh, yeah, how about my friend Joe DiStefano?
Louisiana, we're leveling up, and people are taking notice. Our team has grown its sales by 67% since this time last year, but don't worry, we're still searching for ambitious people who want more out of life than the 9-to-5 routine. With Level Up Louisiana, we offer real support, real training, real opportunity, no corporate fluff, no empty promises. If you're hungry for growth, tired of ceilings, or simply ready for a change that actually moves your life forward, this might be your moment. This sounds like you? Scan the QR code on the screen or email us at louisiana.division@ushacareers.com. That's louisiana.division@ushacareers.com. You can also call or text Joe DiStefano at 504-234-2132. With offices in Mandeville and Baton Rouge, you build your future with Level Up Louisiana.
Let's get on with the show. It almost made me want to say, let's get ready to rumble. And that is a good segue for, did y'all see what this Rex Steiner cat did in practice the other day with the Cowboys? You know, it happened. I know it happened a couple days ago. It means fight. You want to fight? Rex Steiner wants to fight. He's getting an early start in his WWE career, baby. He's trying out already. Gabe says, come on, man. You can't say that. He's trying to get me in trouble? I ain't saying that. What do you know? I'm Ron Burgundy. I'm going to read it if you put it on the screen. I almost read that. I can't read that on the air. Getting an early start, fighting. He pile drove a Cowboy. Look, there were 31 other teams in the NFL besides the Cowboys. Cowboy friends, hey, you can't do that. The other 31 teams go on, Rex Steiner. Kick his ass. It's fun. Lots of fights going on Tuesday with the Cowboys. Today, the Saints are working out against the Los Angeles Rams. I think they had like 4 players. The Saints had like 4 players they were able to use. No, I'm just kidding. This line went up, by the way. This is why if you bet on preseason, you need to call the number. I don't know how many other ways to say this, Nick Morris. I don't know how many other ways to say this. If you bet on preseason, call the number. You have problems. The Saints are 3-point favorites at the Los Angeles Rams. If you think you have any clue what's going to happen in a preseason game, call the number. All the Saints injuries. We don't even know who's starting. We know the starters probably aren't going to play. I mean, did you see what Ty Simpson did last week? Why in the world? I'm not telling you I know what's going to happen. I'm not betting on it either. The Saints going to win by 20. I have no clue. I don't care. It's preseason. Did you see what Ty Simpson did last week? Why are the Saints favored by 3? It just goes to show you. There's like somebody knows something, I guess. Somebody's making money off of preseason. From what I've been told, preseason actually can be lucrative. But if you're betting on preseason football, even if you know what you're doing, you're a sicko, you're a wacko, call the number. Maybe I ought to put the number on the screen, Gabe. Maybe we should get the number and help and do a service for our peeps and have them call the number. That's right. Rex time. There it is. 1-800. Is that real? Is that really the number? 1-800-GAMBLER. If you are betting on, I don't care if you bet $2 for fun. Call the number. There it is on the screen. Thank you, Gabe. 1-800-GAM. If you can't spell, just in case, if you're a Shaw grad like me, if you're from the Best Bank and you maybe even the parish, I don't know, I love you. I'm not dissing anybody from the parish. I called out the West Bank first. Show it one more time, Gabe. Just in case you can't spell, 1-800-GAMBLER. That's gambler. That's right. Just like if you want to get in a fight, call 1-800-REX Steiner. 1-800-REX. I'm in a good mood today. I don't know why. I'm in a feisty mood. Maybe it's because Rex Steiner got me fired up with that fighting. Rocky. 1-800 admit you have a problem. That's a pretty long number there, Rock. What are you calling? You calling like United Arab Emirates? Or I mean, what are you calling? You calling I don't know, Libya? That sounds like a really long number. I don't know. I'm not calling. I don't trust that. Yeah. You know me, I got ADHD. I'm completely off topic as we get into injuries this morning. Yeah, I got a notice this morning that apparently I was flying. My flight left at 9:43. I'm like, that's going to be tough to do considering I'm going to be on the air past 9:43. I wouldn't it was from Google too. It looked like it was from Google. It looked like it was legit. Have any of y'all gotten this before? Like just completely random. Your flight to Atlanta leaves at 9:43. No, it doesn't. And I hope I just want to make it clear. I'm live on the air here at 9:21 a.m. If something happens to me and I disappear and something comes up later and it says that I was going to be in the air at 9:43 or it said I got on a flight or whatever, I did not get on a flight. I just want to here I am publicly saying this at 9:22 a.m. And I'm sure I'll still be on the air at 9:43. I was not on a plane at 9:43. UBN's on a plane to Vegas, but it ain't me. All right, let's get to the comment stream. I just wanted to put it out there in case something happens to me. Who is first this morning? It is Jody, member of the Dattitude family, literally a paid member of the Dattitude family. Happy Thursday, Dats and Dadettes. You're right about that. And since I live in a house full of females and I'm the only male, maybe I should say Dadettes and Dats. There you see our members, the bottom crawl of the screen. Thank you so much to all the paid members here at the Dattitude podcast. They some of them even participate in our chat. There's another member, Rocky. Rocky's a member, paid member. Rocky's been with us for a while, even before we even had paid membership. Rocky was with us. Good morning. Alvin's been with us for quite a while. Good morning. My regulars are here. Yeah, I saw this, Rock. We're gonna give a shout out to my man Devin Snow. Did you get your case of Respect Your Body from Abita last night? You were in Covington as well. Was it in Covington or was it in Abita? You got the T-shirt too. I saw that. I saw Red Bean sold all of his stuff last night. They sold out. He was like overwhelmed. You gotta have it. It's been a little bit since we've been on. He's been on the show. When did he come on the show last? I think right before 500 he came on. By the way, Gabe says in case you want to call the number and can't you get your hand cut off in the UAE if you gamble? I don't think you can gamble over there. I don't know. Yeah, I'm making stuff up this morning. Anyway, if you want to call the United Arab Emirates, you get all kinds of info. You get all kinds of meaningless info on the show. Plus 971. Red Bean was on episode 504. It wasn't that long ago then. Okay. We still should have him on again soon. UBN's in the air. How's everyone feeling? Is headed to Vegas. Speaking of degenerates, I won't bet on a preseason game, but I would absolutely bet solid money that UBN will be betting on something related to preseason football when he's in Vegas because he can't help himself. If you're in the air, UBN, we still love you. S. Callie, good morning. Who Dat Nation, Tiger fans, Jack Pyburn fans. Sunny and very hot. It's hot. It's so damn hot. Remember Roosevelt, you old bastards? It's Roosevelt. How hot? Do a little crotch pot cooking. Y'all remember that? I'm not making it. This is from a movie, y'all. Y'all know the movie? Before I tell it to you, Roosevelt. If you haven't seen this movie, there's something wrong with you. Even if you're young and the movie came out before you were born, you got to go see it. Good morning, Vietnam. Definitely a top 20 all-time movie. Anyway, I'm all over the place this morning. Hello, S. Callie. Charles Mangus, a member. Good morning. And Saints injuries piling up, but injuries in the NFL, that's coming up. A lot more than recorded, yeah. No doubt. Alvin says he was waiting. This was right before we went on the air. I said, waiting on the best podcast. Told your friends about it. Alvin, we thank you so much. That is the best thing you can do to help us out. Tell your friends about the Dattitude podcast. Have them subscribe on YouTube. Watch us when you can. They don't have to watch us live. They're not up at 9 a.m. or they're working at 9 a.m. It's okay. They can watch us later. But we'd love to have them subscribe. Larry, bro, what's going on? Pulled a hammy mowing the lawn this morning. Another lawn injury. By the way, we got to get Kubota or John Deere to sponsor this show. We are the official podcast of all lawn mowers. It is contagious, man. Adam's worried about it. Injuries are concerned. Oh, I didn't forget Cam. Trust me, all that's coming up. It's all on the list. Sean, will this be Kendra Miller redemption tour with AK being out? I've been telling y'all for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. The Kendra Miller train is going to be a rolling. Right now, it's like it's going it's not really rolling yet, but it will be. Earl's Pick says he's a bit concerned. He knows that we're still in rebuilding mode. See, there's a level of common sense. Earl says his level of concern is on a scale of 1 to 10 is a 5. Charles is saying 6+. Alvin says a 7. Sean says, with the level of Olave performance, do I think he get out the day off at Rams joint practice? Absolutely not. Well, I mean, no. Well, we can't start babying people because we have injuries. So, and I know I get a little feisty when people ask these kinds of questions. You know, to me, it's kind of like baseball with the 100 pitch limit. And I'm telling you, I'm going somewhere with this. But for those of you who don't watch baseball, the average number of starting pitches for starting pitchers has changed dramatically over the past 10 years or so. Starting pitchers used to average, 110, 112, but there was no necessary limit. I mean, they're not going to let them pitch past 120. And I'm talking modern, super modern day, since 2000 or something, or the late 90s. I mean, you wouldn't see pitchers go past 120 very often. But at some point, people decided to use analytics again. These analytics are killing sports, by the way. They're so freaking stupid. Analytics, don't get me started on analytics. But pitch counts now. Pitchers don't. I mean, I think I saw the other day, last week at some point, the percentage of pitchers who make 100 pitches per game or more. I think that 10 years ago, it was somewhere in the neighborhood of 30% or something like that. In fact, 15, 20 years ago, it was 42%. You know what it is now? It's 8%. Somewhere along the line, these numbnut managers and administrators and whoever else decided that pitchers can only pitch 100 pitches. You know what it's done for injuries? Nothing. There are the same amount of injuries or more as there were before. And major injuries, too. And it's no different in football. Mike D and I talked about not too long ago about putting these guys in bubble wrap. Were they putting, and I'm just going to point out Jordyn Tyson. Were they putting Jordyn Tyson in bubble wrap? Maybe. I mean, did we see this many hamstring injuries 20, 30, 40 years ago? No, we didn't. And you can't tell me, well, maybe they just play through them. You don't play through hamstring injuries. If you have a hamstring injury, you can't play. Whether it's yesterday, 20 years ago, or 60 years ago. You can't play through hams. There are things you can play through, but it ain't a hammy. Now, a lot has to do with the turfs that they practice on and play on, too. That's a problem. I'm sure we'll discuss that at some point today. But to me, we baby these players, and you have to wonder, too, when they train, are their muscles is it so damn different the way they train today as it was 20, 30, 40 years ago? I don't want to sound like old man, get off my lawn. I know I do sometimes. But you have to be realistic about the things that you're doing. Players are getting more hurt today than they've ever been, that I've ever noticed. Maybe it's not the case. Maybe we'll do a deep dive into that one day. Maybe Gabe and I will dive into the weeds and check out the number of players on injury reports from 30 years ago compared to today. Am I telling you that the athlete of today is not as strong mentally as the athlete of 30 years ago? I don't know that I'm saying that. But maybe they're strung too tight. Maybe that, it's like Steve Austin, the $6 million man. I mean, you put all these parts back together and you tighten them all up, and I don't know. We're trying to make these people subhuman. And I think at some point you got to figure out, again, it's not just the Saints. I'm going to get into that in just a minute. In fact, let's get into it right now. And I've got more comments that I swear I'm going to get to them. But you can't pile on the training staff. We like to pile on the training staff, and I've done it too. But I haven't said much about it in the last year and a half to 2 years. You know why? They were fantastic last year. Think about all remember Sean Payton's last year, and he set a record. I think it was an NFL record at the time, where how many different starting players he used throughout a season. And I think it was over 50. There were over 50 players who started a game for the New Orleans Saints in 2021, and they still had a winning record. Now, that goes a lot to how good Sean Payton was, but it also goes to the fact that, it was a talented team coming on the downside, about to collapse, too. But started something like 50-plus players. And you think of all the injuries, and they have made a lot of changes in that building. And whatever changes they made have been for the better. I mean, last year, I think they were the fourth healthiest team at the end of the year. I mean, which is quite a significant difference over the past 5 years. And you look at the start of this year, it's completely the opposite. However, it's not just the Saints. Again, Brian Bresee, ACL. Dylan Radins, ACL. Both out for the year. Cam Jordan, we don't know how long he's going to be out hammy. I would bet lots of money that he will not be ready to play week 1. Jordyn Tyson, we almost certain he's not going to be able to play week 1. Although I'm hearing that they may not put him on IR. If they put him on IR, he has to miss the first 4 weeks of the season. We'll see. I would imagine that's going to come soon, and they'll make a decision on that soon. Quincy Riley, I found out he got hurt. Groin injury. That could last into the regular season. Alvin Kamara now, y'all like to give me grief when y'all think I'm wrong. When y'all want to make decisions we're talking about Jordyn Tyson. we're going to spend some time talking about Jordyn Tyson this morning. I had planned to spend most of the show talking about Jordyn Tyson till we had to add Kamara and Riley to the injury list. And now the list keeps growing. But Alvin Kamara, this is one of the main reasons why there's a difference between Jordyn Tyson, who's 22 years old or whatever the hell he is, and I don't care if he's had a history of he's injury prone, whatever. I hate whatever. For the most part, you can kiss my ass with injury prone, especially if they're young. We've seen. I'm going to give you many examples of players who were quote injury prone. You know what? And I'm going to give you one right now. For those of you old enough to remember how injured Frank Gore was in college? He had 2 major knee injuries in college. And it scared people off when they got to the draft. Frank Gore just happened to be tied for the longest NFL career ever for a running back. So I don't want to hear that someone was injury prone in college and then of course you could find examples of players who were injury prone and then got injured, of course. We're going to get into Jordyn Tyson in a little bit. But Alvin Kamara, there was a reason why. There's a difference between Alvin Kamara and Jordyn Tyson. And I'm not tooting my horn here because a lot of y'all think I was wrong about Tyson, so that's fine. The difference is this. Alvin Kamara, again, how many times do we have to say this? When a running back hits 30, the magic number of 30, he might as well be 50. 8 times out of 10. If a running back turns 30, he might as well be 50 8 times out of 10. When he's 31, it might be 9 times out of 10. Alvin Kamara, if you think Alvin Kamara is going to play 11 or more games this year, then go bet on some preseason games and call the number. Call the number because you cray-cray. There's a different number for that one. You cray-cray. We told you this before. This is going to last into just in the week 1. If you think it's going to last into just week 1, you're crazy. Now Audric Estime is hurt. He's got a foot injury. So you're talking about 7 guys who either start or are significant backups that we have listed here this morning. And, you're talking about significant play. I mean, Dylan Radins was your number 1 backup offensive lineman. Alvin Kamara, I mean, they're calling him a starter across the land, but we know he wasn't a starter. But still, he was we know what Alvin Kamara is. I don't need to get in who he is. Jordyn Tyson, got to assume he's going to miss into week 1. Audric Estime was, a lot of people were planning for him to have a significant role now out. But it's not just the Saints, though. And that's what, I mean, here's just a small list, okay, across the NFL. Jaden Higgins, Gabe's Texans, out for the year. He's got a knee injury. Tyler Biadasz, I always want to say badass because that's how it looks like when you look at his name. The center from the Chargers, he's got a knee injury. Falcons linebacker Jalen Walker, ACL. Both starting Panthers tackles are injured, and they're starting defensive end Nick Scott. Bears safety, Kobe Bryant. 49ers receiver, Ricky Pearsall, and some other 49ers as well. Meanwhile, we don't know what's going on with Patrick Mahomes yet, George Kittle, Micah Parsons, Malik Neighbors is working his way back. What about Michael Penix? We don't know what's up with Mekhi Lemon, Jeremiah Love, Breece Hall, Mika Ibuka. Plenty more. It's not just the Saints. It's across the NFL. It goes back to what I'm talking about and how these players seem to get themselves wound up. You can only work the body, in my opinion, so much. I mean, there's only one Derrick Henry, okay? Adam says his concern level is a 6. Every injury is a significant player. Again, across the landscape. Saints definitely don't have enough depth on defense to take on these injuries. But yet, we've been talking about this in our members-only Slack channel. I've seen it. Gabe told me about it. I didn't see it. But I brought it up to him, and he said this was a topic in the Slack channel. That if you look at the line, and again, I know we don't judge everything by odds makers and lines, but they know before everyone else. The Saints line against the Detroit Lions, who, by the way, a lot of Saints fans say, oh, we're going to take that game. Maybe they still will. The spread a month ago for the Saints-Lions game was Lions -7. You know what it is this morning? Lions -7. It hasn't changed. So all these injuries for the Saints, guess what? The Lions have their own injuries as well. You know, we got a Lions fan of mine who's a friend. He knows who he is. He's out there watching. Who likes to make fun of when things happen to the Saints, but I don't hear him. He was the one he doesn't like his coach, and I don't hear him bitching about the injuries that the Lions have, because they have a plethora of injuries in the defensive backfield. They have their own problems. They have problems on their offensive line. So they have their own injuries. They have their own problems. But you go across almost every team in the NFL, barring just a couple, have their own injury problems. So it's not just the Saints. And again, I go back to, it's not just training staffs. We keep trying to build these players into Steve Austin. I'm not talking about Stone Cold either. I'm talking about Steve Austin from the 1970s. $6 million man. I guess today would be the $6 billion man. A-Town, good morning. He just tore his rotator. Another tractor injury. Good Lord, y'all all on the tractor this morning. It's too hot to be out on a tractor. Larry, I'm not showing to talk about Estime. It's not. We're blaming Rat for somebody else's injury now. Come on, man. Sav, good morning. You're just here for the Tyson. Was a good pick talk. Absolutely. By the way, I have not changed my opinion one iota. Not one single iota. I don't even, how big is an iota, Gabe? I don't know how big an iota is, but I haven't changed one of them. Jordyn Tyson was the right pick for the Saints at the right time. By the way, Olave was kicking his opponent's ass on Tuesday in the joint practice with the Saints and the Cowboys. Do you know who he was whipping up on Tuesday? That would be Caleb Downs. The Chris Olave, who at this time last year, a lot of y'all were bitching about and moaning about, and then into the season was dropping balls like crazy, and he ain't a number one receiver, was whipping Caleb Downs' ass. Sure wish we had that guy. Who knows? Maybe he'll be hurt later. Good. Maybe the comment of the day so far. We're going to get to Jordyn Tyson. It's coming up still. I got plenty to say about Jordyn Tyson this morning. It's a good thing Zach probably wasn't coming on here, because I don't know when I would have got him. I got so much. I got to cram all this into a little bit this morning. Sean says, aren't I glad that Kellen Moore didn't give an apology for fights like Dennis' apologies to the Falcons? Touche, my friend. Let's see. We're moving on. There he is. There's my Lions fan. Oh, my God. Might as well just forfeit week 1, he says. Yeah, you got your own problems, pal. NFC North, predictions coming up. I'm sure you can't wait. Brian says he was between the Ravens and Bengals talking about our predictions, but felt the Bengals did more to improve their defense. He's not sure getting rid of Harbaugh will benefit the Ravens. Well, duh. Of course it's not going to benefit the Ravens. Uh-oh. A-Town says, breaking news this morning. The Dot's Diner lady just went on the IR. She twisted her hamstring trying to get the scrambled eggs off the grill before they burnt up. Bill says 2 weeks ago he's worried about cutting good players. Now we need everybody. I mean, that's the thing. At least if you got depth, you'll be all right, right? Paul Laporte says he hopes the Saints don't overwork Etienne while Kamara is out. Paul, I don't know how to explain this any better than we've been explaining it over the past month, and I'm not trying to be condescending, so please don't take this the wrong way. Etienne was always going to get the bulk of the work. Kamara was never going to get more than 10 or 12 touches in a game. And now someone else will get 10 or 12 touches in a game. I think Etienne's going to get exactly the same amount of carries and touches and catches as he was going to get before Kamara got hurt. I am telling y'all, I am not trying to be a dick. I promise you when I say this, okay? Don't take this the wrong way. If you still think Alvin Kamara is going to contribute to this team, I'm not trying to be a hater. I'm telling you, we're realists on this show. The number is about to crash because I'm about to say something that people are going to perceive as bad about Alvin Kamara. If you ever thought Alvin Kamara was going to seriously contribute to this football this season, sure, I'll eat crow po' boy in December if I'm wrong. Then you're just out of touch with reality. He's a 31-year-old running back with injury history. Oh, he's going to be fresh this year. No, he's not. Okay? It's not a surprise. He's going to come back in week 1 or week 2 or week 3 or week 4, and then he's going to get hurt again. Not because he's injury prone, because he's 31 years old. And so it is what it is. Etienne was always going to get the same amount of touches, barring injury, barring his own injury. It doesn't change anything. You know? Chris, I'm not sure what you mean there, Christopher Crump. Just getting over. Oh, you are getting over a total knee replacement. Well, then you know how some of these players feel. Great show, go Saints. We're glad you're back. I'm glad. I hope everything went okay with that. Silver Gator, where you been? I haven't seen you in a while. Cubs tanking while Brewers soaring. Tanking? What planet are you living on, sir? They're not tanking. I think they've won 7 out of their last 10. They just won a series with the White Sox. They got to within 3.5 games. I think 2 weeks ago this time, the Brewers were 6.5 up on the Cubs, and now it's 4.5, and it got as low as 3.5. What planet are you living on? I think you need to, A, go get me some receipts, and B, pay attention, son. Go pay attention, because you ain't paying attention. Jerry's here. We knew you'd be here. We do receipts on the show, if you haven't figured that out by now. But I'm glad you're back. I haven't seen you in a while. Brian Cavett, what's good? Who that's? You want to check? There's a receipt. He said Tyson would not make it through camp. Who cares? I mean, okay, you want me to get into it? Let's get into it. Let's start with this, you haters. I told you Jordyn Tyson would. You know how many times I've heard this over the course of the past 4 or 5 days or 6 days or whatever, however long it's been. Who cares? Y'all want bring the Tyson hate. Go ahead, bring the Jordyn Tyson hate. You want now's your chance. Bring it on. We are already crowning somebody. Oh, I told you he wouldn't make it through camp. I told you he wasn't going to play week 1. He's going to be injured his entire career. Get out of here. Shoe fly. First of all, with this particular injury, Kellen Moore says, completely unrelated to any hamstring injuries head. His foot slipped awkwardly. He was shoved from behind. Moore said, quote, any player in that situation probably has the same diagnosis. In other words, This was not a non-contact soft tissue tear. It was a football accident. You ever heard of a player named OBJ? Odell Beckham? He missed all of training camp in his first 4 games of the regular season with a hamstring. Rookie year. This entire training camp. Didn't play anything in training camp. Missed the first 4 games of the season. What did he do? He only started 11 games. Bum, right? 91 catches for 1,305 yards and 12 touchdowns. Offensive Rookie of the Year. What are other hamstring injuries? Christian McCaffrey, A.J. Brown, they've had hamstring injuries. Basketball, Kevin Durant, hammy injuries entire career. Baseball, same goes for Mike Trout. If Jordyn Tyson turned out to have a career similar to A.J. Brown, would that be okay with y'all? I told you about Frank Gore already. Multiple knee injuries, major knee injuries at the University of Miami. Most seasons in the history of any running back in the history of the National Football League. Oh, how arrogant I am. That's right. It's Dattitude, baby. If you don't like it, sorry, piss off. I don't care. If you don't like it, bye. Because we keep it real on this show. If you don't like my opinion, that's fine. I'm glad you have yours. I will show it. We just showed it. That's the difference between this show and another show. If you don't like my opinion and you disagree with it, you're more than welcome to put it on the screen and we can talk about it. How arrogant I am. Have you paid attention to the world lately, John Gainey? Have you even spent any time on social media? And I know that you do because I see your own posts. I'm not just talking about John Gainey. I'm calling you out because you just called me out. Do you read the shit that's on social media every day? The world is full of assholes, and I decided if you can't beat them, join them. I'm just trying to give you proof. If you don't like you're only calling me arrogant because you don't like my opinion. If you were agreeing with me, you'd be like, you go, Derry. How about Detroit's Jamison Williams? Caught 1 pass for 41 yards, then missed the rest of his rookie season with a knee injury. Since then, by the way, that lingered in the second season. His last 2 years, 123 catches for 2,118 yards, 14 touchdowns. We still don't know if Tyson's going to be on IR or not. I'm leaning towards he probably will be because the Saints are probably going to be overly cautious. There's no incentive to rush him back. I've told you this many times. We've said this. Some of you don't like hearing this. The Saints are still in a rebuilding year. But you know what I find comical? Here's what I find comical. Let me be a little bit more arrogant if it's not arrogant enough for you. What I find comical is the same people who were, not all the same people, because my regulars are who they are, and they know I take receipts anyway. So not so much now. I'm talking about the non-arrogant people on Facebook and X and wherever else they get the Instagram and whatever else they use. All these people that were super high on the Saints, they're like, oh man, here we go. Like you thought the Saints weren't going to, and any other team were going to get through camp. And you know how lucky you are if you go through camp and get into the regular season without a major injury or two. And then a few more that linger into the season. It doesn't happen very often. You act like you're surprised that things happen. And then you want to call out because you think you're right already about someone. You're already judging a player's career. Just like there are people that put players in Canton before they even take a freaking snap. That's what y'all want to do with some of y'all with Caleb Downs. I was reading things. People were putting Caleb Downs in Canton. He was getting his ass kicked by Chris Olave the other day. I don't want to hear that crap. Gabe says, out of the top 9 most injured teams in the NFL last year, how many do I think made the postseason? I have no idea. I'm guessing since you're asking me, a lot of them. The number 1 most injured team in the NFL last year was, according to Gabe Henderson, the New England Patriots. They only went to the Super Bowl. Oh, they're the only one. Oh, they're the only one. Oh, they're the only one who did? Were they the number one team? Number one team. So they're the only one that did, but they went to the Super Bowl. Just goes to show. I am super sensitive on this subject, I guess, and it's my show, so I can say whatever the hell I want. I'm not trying to be, I'm really not trying to be a dick, but the comments that I read on something that I posted the other day, I think are absurd. We are judging a player before his first regular season even begins. By the way, the same Lewis Reddick, you just invoked OBJ when talking about Tyson. Hypocrite? What are you talking about? I'm trying to prove a point. Do you not get the point I'm trying to prove? I invoked OBJ because he missed the entire preseason in the first 4 games of the season, just like Tyson may do, and then was the offensive rookie of the year with over 1,300 yards. I don't understand what you mean. I don't think you know what you mean. Going back to what I'm talking about. The same Lewis Riddick, who was the only commentator I could find who labeled Tyler Shuck as the best quarterback in last year's draft, also called Tyson the undisputed best wide receiver in the 2026 draft class. He doesn't need to carry this offense. He was never planning on being a guy that's going to carry the offense. Not this year. He may at some point. As much wide receiver depth as the Saints have had since 2022, when they went into the season with Olave. Remember 2022? Think about this. Olave, and going into the season, not what it ended up being, okay? They went into 22 with Olave, Mike Thomas, who ended up playing 3 games. Let's don't go there. Jarvis Landry, who ended up missing half the season. Traquan Smith, who ended up in the doghouse. Marquez Callaway, remember him? Rashid Shaheed came out of nowhere. But there's no question that this is the best wide receiver group since that 2022 team. No question. But they drafted Jordyn Tyson because, again, I know some of y'all don't get it. If you don't get it, I'm sorry. I don't know how to explain it to you any differently. The philosophy of this team, whether you agree with the philosophy or not. Now, if you disagree with the philosophy, that's a totally different argument. I can sit here and listen to that. But I cannot listen to, you can't disagree. If you don't disagree with the philosophy that you want your franchise quarterback to be surrounded with as many weapons as possible and the best weapons possible, that was clearly what this team did going into the draft. This is what we're going to do. We're going to give Tyler Shuck as many weapons as we possibly can so we don't score 19 points a game or whatever the hell it was last year. We're going to up that to 24 points a game or whatever it is. Some of y'all can't understand that. And if you disagree with that premise, forget Jordyn Tyson. If you disagree with that premise, okay, fine, we can have a debate. But if you agree with that premise, you think the Saints should surround Tyler Shuck with as much weapons, you're not going to fix all the holes at one time. That's why I tell you I think this team is still a team that's in transition and a team that's still building itself up. It's still got a lot of work to do before it's, in the realm of possibility that it can be a real contender. I mean, could they win this crappy division and sneak into the playoffs? Sure, it's possible. I still don't think it's likely we'll get to the NFC South next week. I mean, next week is going to be an interesting show because, again, we do our NFC South preview. But that being said, you can leave that on for a second. That being said, if you agree with the philosophy of surrounding Tyler Shuck with weapons, then you're being a hypocrite if you disagree with the Jordyn Tyson pick. Oh, could have got somebody good in the second round. Sure, you could have, but not someone with the weapons that Jordyn Tyson, clearly the best receiver in the group. Hart says, Hart Pisani, welcome back. I haven't seen you in a couple weeks. He was against drafting Tyson, got on board when he did, and remains on board. Yeah, because you can't flip-flop back. Don't be a flip-flopper. Glad you're not, Hart. One flip-flop, okay, but if you keep going back and forth, that's not good. It sucks he already got hurt with the rep he has had and hates to hear it, but he's out 4 games, not his career. That goes back to my point. Just like you can't put someone in Canton in August of his rookie season, You can't label someone a bust or say, I told you so in August. Even if they said tomorrow, you know what? Jordyn Tyson's going to miss the rest of the year. That would suck. And then I'd definitely have to eat some crow. Crow po' boy. Cheers. However, you cannot judge a player, his career. You can't say, well, you can say whatever you want. You can be a numbnuts if you want to be. But you cannot realistically say and be sane and say you're judging a player on his entire NFL career before he even takes the field. You're invoking OBJ. Yes, I'm invoking OBJ because OBJ had a similar start to his NFL career as Jordyn Tyson's having, and it turned out to be pretty good. Frank Gore, labeled a bust before he got in the NFL. You can't draft Frank Gore. Yes, we can, said the 49ers. That worked out okay. Again, A.J. Brown. Here we go, live TV. Y'all love when I do this, don't you? A.J. Brown, let's see how many games he's missed throughout as of late, or just throughout his career. He missed 2 games last year, missed 4 games the year before that. He only started 11 his rookie season. Started 12. So every year except for one. Well, 2022 and 2023, he only missed 1 game total. But every other year, he's missed multiple games. Would you be okay if Jordyn Tyson turned into A.J. Brown? Now, they're different kinds of receivers. So I'm not saying he's going to be the same kind of receiver. But would you be okay if they had similar numbers? No, you'd be fine with it. Let's see. Trying to catch up as much as I can here. I know I'm way behind. I'm going to move forward. Here's a new one. Okay. If you're not new, I'm sorry I don't remember the name, but welcome to the show. Keith Anthony says he bets Alvin Kamara plays more games than Kendra Miller with only 47 carries, 193 yards, and 1 touchdown in 3 seasons. I would have cut ties with Kendra Miller. Hopefully I'm right about this guy. Okay. Fair point. Certainly possible. I'm not saying you could be right. I'm not saying, look, I guess I'm going to go back to this about Kendra Miller and Alvin Kamara. My problem with Alvin Kamara has nothing to do with what's wrong with him right now. And for those of you who have not seen this show, because I haven't really talked about it in a little bit, so I'll say it again. My biggest problem with Alvin Kamara coming back at age 31, and I guess it's what got me banned from Alvin Kamara's. He banned me on social media. I can't see him now. He didn't like what I had to say, I guess. I guess it's good that he notices me, but I don't understand why he banned me because I'm giving an opinion. But my biggest problem with AK right now, again, one of the greatest Saints who's ever worn black and gold. There's no question about it. Whether he's the best running back in Saints history or it's Deuce, take your pick. Throw him in a hat. I don't care which one you pick. I can understand why you would pick AK. Fine. But at age 31, you talk, again, a team that is in transition to me on the right side of transition. They're trying to climb out of football purgatory. You're trying to find out who your running back 2 is for the future. It's not Alvin Kamara. So I guess that's the biggest problem I have with you're keeping him on here. It's in limbo. People are going to be asking about it constantly. It's going to be a nonstop. We're going to be talking about it forever. The Saints are going to give Kendra Miller. I've said this before. I'll say it again. I truly believe it. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll tell you I'm wrong later. So, by the way, do arrogant people tell you they're wrong? Because I'll probably tell you I'm wrong more than any other show host on planet Earth. Certainly more than some of the fanboy podcasts. Not that I'm going to get into that this morning. I'm just saying that I think that Kendra Miller is going to get, he's already had every opportunity. He's going to get more. We'll see. But I hear you, Keith. St. Louis Obispo, who died? Good morning. Late good morning for the West Coast. It's not late on the West Coast. It's 8 a.m. over there. Nola Man is here. Good morning. He's sick of us being one of the most injured teams in the league. We're not necessarily one of the most Again, I went through the list of the walking wounded. Also, you were furious with everyone when they drafted Tyson. Should have gotten downs. Disagree. Hamstrings linger. So do who sings linger? Zombies? I think it's the zombies. Zombies linger too. Anyway, that was a terrible, terrible cranberries. That was a terrible, terrible dad joke. Adam Varner says what he's looking forward to most in week 1 is how the offensive line holds up against Aiden Hutchinson. Well, you're getting ahead of yourself there, but I hear you. Hart says he's back. He's been working overnight, so he missed a few shows. Well, glad you're here. You're in better physical shape than the Saints. I am not. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, Quincy. Yeah, Mark Stanovich. Quincy Riley's now hurt too. Yeah. Bill, it's amazing how that happens, Bill. Injuries happen. It's football. He says, I think this is the best prediction of the day. There's no question this is true. I would bet $100 to win $1 that this will happen. The Saints will have 53 players at Detroit. 100%. Ron Henriksen, a regular here. Welcome to the show this morning. Says Tyson's documented hamstring issues remind him of another wide receiver drafted by the Saints that was a risk due to hamstring concerns. His name, Larry Burton. Fast as anyone, but could not stay healthy. What was that, like 1972? I got to look at live TV. He's looking something up again. He was born in 1951. Is that how far we're going back to prove a point? By the way, Larry Burton, his rookie season in 1975, excuse me. He played in 13 out of 14 games. Ron, the next year he played in all 14 games. Now he did get hurt after that, but I think that was just a bad pick. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say it was a bad pick. He played in all but one game his first 2 seasons, and he only had 34 combined catches. So I don't know if it was because he got hurt or just because he wasn't good. That was just a bad pick. So, Ron, I hear you, but I don't agree with you. Let's see. Calvin says, Calvin 142, good morning. Not sold on Bob, but ready to see Shuck throw to Barian Brown and Bryce Lance. No question. I mean, Bryce Lance didn't even play last week. I wonder if Bryce Lance is going to get some time. I mean, I hope they don't, and I hope they're not putting bubble wrap on him either. Mr. Working Man, you can explain it to him, but you can't make him understand it. You know? Just saying. Nola, man, you know, you are somebody if I'm just kidding. He says I used them like a used taco. I'm not meaning you're in the I told you I'm a little super sensitive about this topic, and I'm going to continue to put that out there. By the way, John Gainey, since you're basically calling me out this morning, Mekhi Lemon's as good as Tyson with better numbers. Biletnikoff winner. You know what? Mekhi Lemon's hurt too. Mekhi Lemon might not play at the beginning of the season. Did you know that? The experts, by the way, Gabe says, put that together for me. Look at how the last 5 Biletnikoff winners are fared in the NFL. And since Gabe is saying that, I'm assuming it ain't good. Go ahead, put that together for me. I'll call it out in a minute. We'll be right back to you, John. K-Man, good morning. Who that, baby? Hart and Saints. How's Dak Prescott doing, Hart and Saints? We should fight for the South this year, but the Saints are playing the long game right now. Absolutely they are. We're building from the ground up in this draft class show today. Amen. 100%. 100%. Ryan O'Shea. The logic was 100% right of what the position to pick. The player picked was justifiably questionable. No, you're not flip-flopping. Ryan, I have no problem with the dissenting opinion. Don't be a douche about it. You're not being. I'm just saying. I have no problem with dissenting opinions whatsoever. But to come out and say it's the wrong pick, you have no clue if it was the wrong pick. I told you so in August of a rookie season is moronic. Absolutely, incredibly, 100% moronic. I'll tell you what, we'll have you on in a little bit, Gabe, but we're going to come back to that. Remind me. Okay. I want to know how the past 5 Biletnikovs have done, winners have done. You know? Bill, you're right. The problem is that everyone has us in the playoffs, so every injury is magnified. Not everybody. Spoiler alert, you might not like my Saints prediction next week. I have not changed my opinion. If you see me on any of the shows making a prediction already, we'll see. Mr. Working Man says, Kendra Miller's talent makes him RB2 behind a chin. Injury's the only thing holding him back. If memory serves, last year, Miller was RB1 in training camp before his injury hit him. I don't think he was RB1. I think Alvin Kamara was RB1 last year at this time. Pretty sure. But Kendra Miller certainly was going to be a big part of the offense and had a decent start before he got injured. I know. Go ahead. You can look. I could take it. If I could dish it out, I could tell you. I know. I said the zombies. I don't know what my mind's on football. Come on. Do you have to let it linger? Just asking. We're going to come back to Saints. I want to show the poll question again. About to get into our predictions because we're going to definitely get back to Saints with Gabe in a little bit. If you have not voted, please do so now because we're about to get in our predictions. If you're out there, Justin Bracey, there's your chance to vote. Who will have the best season in 2026 out of these teams? Type in the number 1 if you think it's the Baltimore Ravens. Type in the number 2 if you think it's the Cincinnati Bengals. Type in the number 3 if you think it's the Chicago Bears. We're doing AFC and NFC North this morning. Type in the number 4 if you think it's either the Detroit Lions or the Green Bay Packers. And if you're wondering why we put those two together and you weren't here when I explained this earlier, it's because I can only fit 4 answers on our StreamYard poll question. And again, I'm very happy to have a StreamYard poll question. Again, not quite ready to give my answer yet. Silver Gator is voting for the Chicago Bears. This is definitely not how I thought it would go so far. Definitely not. St. Louis Obispo is voting for the Detroit Lions or the Green Bay Packers. Say, SLO, who are you voting? Which one of those two? Tell me which one you're voting for. No one's voting for that. Kind of surprises me. No one's voting for the Ravens. Now, I'll give you a spoiler alert. I don't think it's the Ravens, but I'm surprised that no one out there is voting that they think it will be the Ravens as of yet. If you're listening after the fact, right now the Bears are winning the poll. Still got time to vote. We're gonna show that back up in a minute. Okay, you can take it off again. Calvin says Kendra Miller to this day is the highest upside, but never can hold you, but can never hold your breath for him to be able. That's true. I mean, true. St. Louis Obispo says Detroit. Dan Campbell rocks. He can throw rocks. Anyway, all right, let's get into it. As you know, Zach couldn't be with us this morning. Before we get to all this, we told you earlier. We'll let you know more about how Evangeline Securities can help you figure out what your family run or privately held business might be worth, whether it's time to sell. How do they do it? Best question of the day. We don't need Dot to tell us that after your complimentary valuation of your company, native New Orleanian Nick Braden and the folks at Evangeline, they'll begin an extensive auction process for among established private equity funds from around the whole wide world, Jim Derry. They'll maximize the return for the founder and his or her family. Evangeline Securities is the top producer on their platform. Very few companies like them in this area. None, and I mean 0.0 with their dedication and success. They're fully licensed. They're ready to serve you. So get in touch with Nick about what's really important. And it's not the size of my ego. You know what's really important? The rest of your life. Hot. I got to switch out after that one. Coffee, gone. Coffee out, water in. I think I spilled some. The rest of your life. We're all over the place this morning. Manga says, the best. Sean's voting for the Bears. What is all the Bears vote? Y'all some Ben Johnson loving mofo. Caleb Williams loving Kyle Monangai loving mofos. I don't know what's going on there. That's right, Hart. Nick Braden plays through his hamstring injuries. I don't know if Nick's super confident right now. I'm just going to say. I don't know how much I can tell you about his and I'm just saying. I don't think he's not commenting, but he ain't super confident right now. All right. Let's get to our predictions. Again, I'm going to come back to Saints, I promise, but I want to talk about our AFC North and NFC North predictions. I still got Gabe to come on. We got a couple things to talk about this morning, and I got to end the show by about 10:40 at the latest because I got a lot of work in my real job to do this one. Not this isn't as important as my real job. I know y'all care about this more than my real job, but let's start with Alvin says the Bears are overhyped. We're going to get to that, Alvin. You're ahead of me. Cecil says, good morning. Happy heavenly birthday to my dad in 2 days. You are certainly right. Mercy Hospital ain't there no more. Cecil, did you remember this from the show, or did you know my dad and I don't realize this? Get in touch with me if you were friends with my dad and I didn't realize it. But yes, my dad would have been 84 years old on Saturday. But next week, though, is official birthday week on this show. 2 show hosts. Well, Gabe's isn't next week, but it's good enough to call it birthday-ish. Birthday week-ish. So anyway, we're gonna celebrate all week next week. And the first, I think, isn't we have a show on your birthday, don't we? Or no? Yeah, we do. We certainly do. Okay. That's right. Good memory from last year. Man, that is one. Cecil, can you tell me what you're taking to remember that? Because I need to take it because I can't remember jack squat. My memory, my wife has really been getting on me lately. I hope it's not the first signs of you know what. I'm just going to say that she's been getting on me because she says, I told you that like 3 times. And I know wives always say that, but like she's like really serious. Like she's telling me things that I don't remember. It's kind of scary, in fact. Maybe that's why I'm so feisty. Maybe you think that could be it. Maybe that's why I'm getting pissy. Sorry, Mr. Gainey. I got an excuse now. Just saying. Charles's dad passed away at 84 weeks before his 85th birthday. Yeah, my dad has been gone for 2.5 years now. I miss him. I know he's watching the show. Adam says, is the Saints record prediction change due to injuries? Would like Gabe's answer. Well, we're going to do the NFC South next week, but I will tell you this. I have not changed my win total prediction. How many times are you legally allowed to use the word iota in one show, Gabe? I have not changed my record prediction, my win total prediction of the Saints 1 iota from any single injury that's happened so far. Sean says people aren't voting for the Ravens because they lack confidence in the coaching. All right, let's get Earl says he thinks the Bears take a step back. Let's get to the AFC North, and we're going to start out. Again, Zach isn't here. He offered to come on by phone, but we said we just read his picks on the air. And he's got the Baltimore Ravens winning the AFC North. He's got over 10.5 for the Ravens. He's got the Bengals in second, also over 10.5 wins. That's quite a prediction. That's lofty. He's got lofty hopes for the AFC North. And then just about everybody, like everybody else. Not everybody else, but a lot of people have. I mean, how many times have we seen this prediction in the AFC North? Ravens, Bengals, Steelers, then Browns. And then under for Steelers, under 8.5, under for Browns, 5.5. I mean, come on. If he were here, I would kind of give him a little grief. I'm like, could you be any more chalky than that? So do you want non-chalk? Do you want something that rubs against the face of chalk? I did not say rub your face in chalk, but my prediction is going to be why not? I'm pissing everybody else off this morning. Why not make them laugh too? Here are my AFC North predictions. I do not have the Cleveland Browns in last place, and I do not have the Baltimore Ravens in first place. I agree with people who are not voting for the Baltimore Ravens. I am voting for the Cincinnati Bengals, and it has nothing to do with hype. I think it's almost, honestly, now I got over 10.5 wins for the Cincinnati Bengals. So, yeah. I get it. But when you start looking at what this division is, I guess I'll start with the Bengals, even though I should probably start with the Browns, because if you can't see the screen, you're listening out to the fact I do not have the Browns in last place like everybody else does. I got the Bengals in first place over the Ravens. I think that the Ravens regress under first-year coach Jesse Minter. Obviously, Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry are two of the – now, Derrick Henry, is this the year that he finally starts to go down just a little bit? I can't bet against Derrick Henry until he shows me that he's going downhill. I know he has beaten the 30-year-old running back odds, so I'm not betting against him. But I'm not buying into Jesse Minter either. I don't understand. Look, I guess sometimes you just get tired of a coach, and it was time to move on from Harbaugh, but I think they're going to regret that decision. I really do. And I'm no Zach Taylor fan. Zach Taylor sucks as a coach. However, the Bengals have so much GD talent. Again, barring a Joe Burrow injury, which we've said a lot of times before, I'm going to say that he doesn't get seriously injured. If he doesn't get seriously injured, I don't know how the Bengals don't win at least 11 games. That's why I'm picking them to win the division. Now, in the bottom half of this division, look, Todd Monken, is he going to change things that Kevin Stefanski couldn't change? They still have an obvious quarterback problem. However, they no longer have the stud of all studs on defense. I understand that. But picking the under 5.5 is just too damn easy. Everybody and their grandma, Gabe says, remember last week when you said we haven't agreed much this year? That's about to change, okay? Everybody and their grandma, the Browns stink. They're only going to win like 2 games, 3 games, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I think the Browns are going to have a much better season than people expect. Their schedule, live TV. Let's call up their schedule real quick. And here's another thing that I like. When I was looking at their schedule, why is it not doing it? Come on, work with me here. Work with me here. My internet machine is not working. Am I skipping? Game now? Okay. My internet's acting weird. I don't know what's going on here. Anyway, trying to do this on live TV and it's not working. Browns. Can't get my Google thing to work here. You know what? Let's go to the phone. It's always the phone. I know. Sorry, y'all. Here it is. My phone's working. My machine is not. Okay, they start off at Jacksonville and at Tampa Bay. Those are tough. Those aren't, that's not easy. But they play Carolina. They play Pittsburgh on a Thursday night. I think Pittsburgh's when 72-year-old Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, and it's going to happen sooner rather than later. That team is screwed. I mean, they have no backup quarterback worth anything. And I know a lot of teams can say that, but the Steelers are screwed when he gets hurt. And anybody who thinks he's going to play 17 games, they're just insanely nuts, right? Okay, we're still good? Still good? Okay. Then they play at the Jets, play the Ravens. Then they got a 3-game stretch on the road, but all games that they could win. I'm not saying they're going to win 3 games on the road. Play at Tennessee, at Pittsburgh, at the Saints. Stop it. Then they play the Texans before a super late bye week, week 11 bye week. And they play 3 in a row at home versus Vegas, versus the Bengals. They're not going to win that barring injuries, versus Atlanta, at the Giants. I mean, then the second to last week of the year, they play against the Colts. I mean, I think they find a way to win 6 or 7 games. I'm not saying I'm running to the window to bet the over, but you know how I like to go against the grain. That's one of my I am going to bet it probably. And then the under the Steelers again. I think the floor is going to fall out for the Steelers. I just do. I don't like the Steelers at all this year. I think bad things are going to happen to the Steelers. Hart says he will pick Cleveland to finish last every year. See, now, when you're doing picking, or when you have a show and you're picking, I mean, you can do whatever you want. If you're Hart, I know you have your own show. You can do whatever you want on your own show. But you can't just pick against them because you don't like people. If you do, that's just silly. You shouldn't be picking if you're picking because you don't like people. And I'm just assuming. I know what happens when you assume. Let's see what else we got here. Sean wants to know. You're asking me about the Falcons. We're talking about the AFC North, but that's okay. I'll answer your question. Do I think it's crazy the Falcons haven't committed to Tua being the starting quarterback with 3 weeks remaining, and Penix hasn't been released for full participation in practice yet? No, I don't think it's crazy. I think they're doing that because they're more worried about Michael Penix's feelings than they are about, well, you know what I mean. They're worried about his feelings. I'm just saying. Charles saying if Henry fumbles like he did in close games last year, will hurt him. Yeah, of course. At some point, Derrick Henry's got to turn into a human being, right? Because he's Steve Austin right now. I've never seen a $6 million man. Well, obviously more than the $6 billion man, like I said. Some of y'all are young and don't even know what the $6 million man is. Y'all think I'm talking about Stone Cold Steve Austin. Go look up the $6 million man if you don't know what I'm talking about. Brian Cavett says the Ravens are on a downtrend. Jackson ain't what he was. Henry's finally going to look his age. Sure, he'll have some games, but he's taking a lot of hits, and he's likely the beginning of the end. I just can't take the Ravens in this spot. I know, again, Zach's taking him. It's over one of his better teams. Can't do it. Collins, good morning. It's hot. Damn hot. Nobody said anything about good morning. My good morning. Y'all don't know who Roosevelt is? Come on, man. All right, Hart says nothing to do with not liking people. Cleveland finished. Okay, fair enough. And Earl, I know you're just joking when you say Shedeur Sanders MVP. Yeah, no. All right, moving on to the NFC North. And as I do here, I'm going to put that poll question up one last time because I'm about to give you my answer. Zach's NFC North predictions. He's got the Lions at the top, but he's got them under 10.5. He's got the Vikings second at over 8.5. It's only over in the NFC North. And he's got Bears third under 9.5, Packers under 9.5. So he doesn't think the NFC North is nearly as good as I do because I'm going to answer the poll question now. Last chance to vote here. I'm not going to close that out. I'll give Gabe a chance to talk about it before we move on. But who will have the best season of these teams in 2026? Type in the number 1 if you think the answer is the Baltimore Ravens. Type in the number 2 if you say the answer is the Cincinnati Bengals. Type in the number 3 if you think it's going to be the Chicago Bears, the Monsters of the Midway. Type in the number 4 if you think the answer is the Detroit Lions or the Green Bay Packers. And Jim Derry is going to vote for number 4. Detroit Lions, I think, is the best of these 5 teams. Hence, we can take the poll off now. Hence, let me take a sip. I hate giving the Lions props. I told you, I got a feisty, not only do I have a feisty Lions fans, y'all know what I think about Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell could screw up toast. If making toast during a football game was a thing, Dan Campbell would screw it up. He's a fantastic motivator. I think he's probably a fantastic judge of talent, but he's a terrible, absolutely abhorrent, awful football in-game coach. He just makes terrible decisions. And not only does he make terrible decisions, he doesn't learn his lesson after he continues to make terrible decisions. Just saying. But that being said, I think the Lions take a huge step up this year. You want to talk about schedules. Let's see. Detroit Lions. Let's see if my computer is going to work now. It does. All of a sudden, it's just decided to start working again. Listen to this schedule. I mean, I'm sorry, Saints fans. Don't get pissed off when I say this. But here's the first 5 games before their bye week. Now, Well, I mean, the second week they play at Buffalo on a Thursday night. Let's just say they lose that one. They've been known to win those kind of games. Remember, they won at Kansas City on the Thursday night, the opening night of the season. What was that, 3 or 4 years ago, after the Chiefs had won the Super Bowl? Kind of the start of the rise, maybe 3 years ago, the start of the rise for the Lions. They start out at home against the Saints. I'm sorry, but is it possible the Saints win that game? Of course, but I'm not taking them. The Lions it's 3-1 that they win that game. Then they play at Buffalo on a Thursday again. Let's say they lose. Then they play at home against the Jets, at Carolina, at Arizona. The Lions are going to be 4-1 at the minimum. Then after the bye week, they get rest. They play back-to-back home games after the bye week. Against Green Bay, I think they can beat Green Bay at home. I think they beat Minnesota at home. So now we're talking about 7-1. Then at Miami, 8-1. I mean, they could be 8-1 by the time they play 3 games in a row at home in November against New England, Tampa Bay, and Chicago. Certainly a tough stretch. No question. Actually, that New England game, not at home, it's in Europe. But a tough stretch, no doubt, no question, a tough stretch. But they could be 8-1 when they get there. They only got to win 3 more games after that to get over 10.5. In my opinion, I think they're going to be 8-1. Then they play Tennessee. They play Atlanta, Tennessee, Minnesota, the Giants, and finish out at the Bears and at Green Bay. That is a tough way to finish out a schedule. But I think they have 11 wins before they even finish those last 2 games. Again, I think Dan Campbell sucks as an in-game coach, but I don't even think he can screw this up. And not only do I think the Lions are going to win this division and finish with more than 10 wins, and this is my best bet on this entire. In fact, it may be my best bet of all of the over-unders. I think the Lions end up the number 1 seed in the NFC. I said it here. Now, they'll find a way to screw it up in the playoffs, because it's Dan Campbell. We've seen him screw it up before. Remember what Jaden Daniels did to him a couple years ago. But the Bears, look, I hate picking this way. I really do. I mean, but I can't deny that the Bears have a shit ton of talent. I just can't. I got to take the over here. Y'all know I'm not an over guy. I go against the grain. I like taking unders. I don't know what my tally is so far, but I would be willing to bet my under total is more than my over total. I don't know what it is. Earl says, no shot they won't be 8-1. You're crazy, Earl. I just read you their schedule. Saints, Bills, okay, give them a loss. Who are they going to lose to? Panthers, Cardinals, maybe Green Bay. I could see. But you can't say no shot. They're way better than Minnesota. Sorry. Miami, who are they going to lose to? Besides Buffalo. And if they beat Buffalo, they're almost a shoo-in to be 8-1. Sorry. Love you, Earl, but I get it. I don't like Dan Campbell either. I'm calling it the way I see it. Brian says the NFC North, he has the Bears. No other reason than a feeling Caleb Williams will put a season together. I think Caleb Williams can have a great season too. I just don't think the Bears are as good as the Lions. What does the Bears schedule look like? Well, let's see. Live TV. Is it not going to work again? Oh, there it goes. Nope, it's not. There it goes. My computer's acting super weird this morning. Bears start out at Carolina, fine. They play Minnesota, Philly on a Monday night, and then they play the Jets. Okay. I mean, maybe they'll be 3-1. At Green Bay, at Atlanta, versus New England, at Seattle. They ain't going 7-1. Then home, Tampa Bay, 4 bye week. Saints, Lions, Jacksonville, Miami, at Buffalo on December the 19th. That should be fun. Green Bay on Christmas Day at Soldier Field, finish with Detroit and Minnesota. I don't like the schedule the same. It's completely differently set up. Am I saying the Lions are going to the Super Bowl? I don't know who I'm picking. I got to be honest. I don't know who I'm picking for that. I just think the Lions are the best team in the NFC. So anyway, Zach's got them under 10.5. I think of this entire 8-team set, I would take Lions over 10.5. I think they win 12, 13 games. Lions are plus 790 to be the NFC's number 1 seed. I got to go bet that. That's a great value bet. That is a fantastic value bet. That is a wonderful bet. I'm going to bet that as soon as we get off the air. I really think that's my best bet of this whole card. You know what my second best bet is of this entire 8-game stretch? Browns over 5.5, just because nobody else likes it. Sean says Bears will be better than Detroit. That's because you want them to be. You know, Bears are like the new fun team to watch, and Ben Johnson. Everybody likes offense. Oh, Ben Johnson's going to light. Ben Johnson said the other day, I don't want to. He basically said, I don't give a shit about the Super Bowl. I want to be the highest scoring team in the league. You're an idiot. He's a dumbass too. Caleb Williams will do something stupid down the line. Sorry. I think he's going to be fun to watch. I think the Bears are going to be fun to watch. I think Bears-Lions, some of those games are going to be funnest games to watch on the planet Earth. You got two goofy coaches, in my opinion. Two overrated coaches. Ben Johnson's better than Dan Campbell. Way better. But I don't have a lot of faith in. I mean, you got a coach who all he cares about is scoring points. I'll let Dennis Allen worry about the defense. Okay. Go ahead. Ain't that good. Let's close the poll out before I bring you on, Gabe. Let's put it up there. You can talk about it when you want to. But we're going to close it out here. Final tally, who will have the best season? I can't believe no one voted for the Ravens. Again, I got the Bengals winning the division, so I certainly don't think. But I am very surprised that no one voted for the Ravens. The Bears, that probably would have been the last one I thought. You know, most of the time, the polls don't surprise me, and even when they do, it's only a little bit. This one shocks me. I did not think a majority of the people who voted in today's poll voted for the Bears. 53% said the Bears will have the best record of these 5 teams. 27% said either the Lions or the Packers, and I'm assuming most of the 27% are voting on the Lions. Again, I can't put 5 teams up here, or I would have. 20% said the Bengals. Again, nobody, not a single poll voter said the Baltimore Ravens. That surprises me. Again, I get it, new coach, whatever, but yeah, okay. Color me surprised. All right, moving on. Before we get to their picks, a couple things I want to talk about. Gabe Henderson, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
First off, let's talk about the situation where Mr. Pyburn, if you weren't listening to me earlier in the show, there is a word. I know Matt Moscona was talking about it, and it's also been all over them internet, so you know it's true. But Jack Pyburn, who's playing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers,
had 2 sacks in a preseason game last week.
Had 2 sacks in a preseason game, and was a stud for the LSU Fighting Tigers. Oh, wait. Okay, whatever. Okay, whatever. But
he said himself that he was underwhelming.
Brian's got to run. Good weekend. Everyone have a great weekend. Yeah, you have a great weekend too, Brian. We'll see you on Monday. So what is going on with this thing, this court injunction? He could come back to LSU if he wants to. First of all, do you have any inkling that he wants to go back to LSU? I mean, he's probably not going to make the Bucs roster, right?
I think this perfectly encapsulates the Wild West that college sports is right now, because this opens the door for, I believe this ruling alone was like 15 or 16 athletes. And then there's other athletes who are also waiting on ruling. Xavier Harris, who was in camp with the Saints,
right,
is entering the transfer portal.
Is he really?
Yes, he's entering the transfer portal.
Undrafted free agent from Ole Miss.
Yeah, it's a mess. I doubt any of these players will actually play, but I don't know. I don't know how the NCAA is going to fix
Well, they can't
this.
play right now because there's going to be an appeal, which will stop them from being able to play, at least until the appeals heard. Now, I would imagine they'll have a rush appeal, but then can you appeal that one even if you lose again? I don't know, but where are we going with all this?
It's going to be a seemingly never-ending revolving door stick measuring contest between local courts and the NCAA and these athletes who just want to continue to play, which I don't begrudge.
I know you love those 7-year college players. You know, soon, I don't be surprised if one day
there comes a rule where they just scrap eligibility and they just say as long as you're in school, you can play. I mean,
Well, some of these guys aren't even in school. Did you
Well, I
see
know, that's the
Lenora
sad
Sellers talking about
no.
his class schedule this year?
No, what
He's
is
set
it?
to graduate in December. He doesn't have any classes this semester.
I mean, did he graduate? So he's about to graduate.
He's going to graduate in December.
How can you?
The
I
only
thought
thing
you
he
could.
has
I thought you couldn't do
is
that.
an
I thought you had to have classes.
Internship or something right now. That's the only thing he has.
So that counts as college hours, I guess.
Apparently. I mean, what are we doing? At least Joe Burrow, when he transferred,
He's got an internship where I'm sure the internship is a major. I mean, I don't know this. Don't call me out. I don't know this, but I'm guessing
allegedly.
I would guess if I had to bet. Now I'm not betting on it, but if I had to bet, whoever's internship with is probably some South Carolina donor.
And he probably, you know what? I'll say he does a little.
So
more
I don't know I don't know that that's true.
Kawhi
Don't sue me
for his Inspire deal.
John says that many players have all online classes. Right. That's probably true. I mean, I don't know.
A lot of football players do, but that's mostly the high-profile ones. Like Joe Burrow did his master's, I believe, online. But when I was at LSU, I had multiple.
I did too.
In my class.
Yeah, I did too. All right.
So it's a mess.
We'll talk more about that coming up. The what else do we want to talk about before we get to pick? I know you want to talk a little bit about the injury situation.
Not really.
Okay. It's fun. It's funny that we were talking off the air before you came on, before we started the show, rather, before I even hit the button. You talk about the injuries. I mean, one of your best receivers is out for the season, but you haven't changed your opinion on what you think the Texans might do.
No, I have not.
So, I mean, and that's kind of where we are. Jaden Higgins, an up-and-coming receiver.
Yeah.
A lot of people expected him to take this big leap up. I think it was Nico Collins was talking about this guy is going to be the face of the franchise one day. Just said it like a week ago, less than a week ago. And then he goes out
having a really good camp.
And so, I mean, and I'm not just singling Jaden Higgins out. You can go across the league and find bunches of players like this. So the point is, it's not just the Saints. And again, if you weren't here earlier when I had my ego thing going, I was talking about how I just think that players are just wound too tight. And I don't mean emotionally. I mean physically. I think when you start winding the top, and spinning the top, I mean, what do you think is going to happen? And I mean, these players can only take so much. And again, I relate it to baseball. And Hart says, who was it that said, we ain't come here to play school?
That was Cardale Jones, quarterback at Ohio State.
There you go.
I wanted to play for the Bills. I just think we see a lot of injuries because I think the game, at least in the NFL, is at its highest level.
I don't disagree with that.
And I think when you are competing in a contact sport at the highest level, the conditioning is fantastic. Unfortunately, you just have these injuries.
Sometimes I think the conditioning is too. I think they spent, and again, I don't know. I'm no athlete. I'm not in physical shape. Whatever you say, whatever you want, but it doesn't seem like at some point we spend all this time conditioning, and then we put this. And I hate to use this term again, but because I've been using it a lot, but this bubble wrap around some players, and then they get out there and they get hurt. And to me, you spend all this time working out and doing this and tightening your muscles, and everybody wants to look like Derrick Henry. But, sometimes maybe you should spend less time working out and more time practicing football. I don't know. Maybe
that is working out, though. They go hand in hand.
I don't know, because
I'm not going to pretend.
You see all these different kinds of injuries that we didn't see nearly this amount of injuries 30 years ago. Again, I don't want to say football is definitely more.
Once again,
fun to watch.
The game's at a higher level, though.
Yeah, there's no question. It's definitely at a higher level. There's no question.
Not only that, it's much faster as well.
But it's much faster because I think if we would have had the same kind of conditioning, the way they do things now. If they would have done that 30, 40 years ago, I think you would have had the same thing then. They just didn't do that then. They didn't stretch these guys' muscles so tight that they could pop or whatever.
But I mean, just look at the way the game is played. The no-huddle offense, all of the motion that they run pre-snap.
Yeah.
The game is has a much bigger focus on offense nowadays.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that at all. But anyway, I think at some point, look, I think that I think you got to find some better balance. Okay, and like I said in baseball, somebody with analytics, some analytics department came out and said that if you limit play and how they picked 100 pitches out of the freaking sky, just so happens to be 100
round number.
Exactly. I mean, but you just so happen to be, and some managers I watch are like letter of the law, baby. When they hit 100, that is it. They don't ever go above it. And some are a little bit looser and whatever it is. But there isn't a manager on planet Earth now who will go past 100 on a regular basis. I mean, it's just
here's the thing,
and pitchers are getting hurt as bad as they were before.
Now, I believe you have those analytic departments and general managers a lot more involved in the day-to-day decisions in baseball.
Right, and they're just not right.
Didn't have that.
Right, and they're wrong. They're wrong as much as they're right. And you go back to the pitches.
That's a whole different discussion.
Yeah, it is, and it's a whole different show.
If we talked about that, we'll be here all day.
No doubt. All right, let's get to our predictions. NFC.
By the way,
yeah, go ahead.
Before we get there, I'm not going to spend a whole segment on it, but I did want to bring this up because we mentioned the Biletnikoff winners.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's what I knew there was something else.
The last 4 Biletnikoff winners in a combined 9 seasons in the NFL have failed to reach 1,000 yards in any of them.
All total?
All total. The best season among any of them was Jordan Addison's rookie year, 911 yards and 10 touchdowns.
There you go, Biletnikoff winners. You could have had the Biletnikoff winner.
The thing with the Biletnikoff is I feel like you're either a really good receiver or a really bad receiver, i.e. if you just run down this list, Larry Fitzgerald, Calvin Johnson, Michael Crabtree. But then you've got guys like Justin Blackmon, Marquise Lee, Corey Coleman, Dede Westbrook.
Who is the best receiver in football right now?
A Biletnikoff winner, Jamar Chase.
You think it's Jamar Chase? I don't. I think it's Justin Jefferson. Yeah. I just think that his quarterback.
Jamar Chase. I've always thought Jamar was better than Justin.
All right. I mean, so
it's close. I mean, take
your top 5 receivers. You think?
Jefferson, Chase, CeeDee Lamb.
I'd go for CeeDee Lamb.
JSN has probably played his way into it after last year.
I agree.
And I'm a big Amon-Ra guy, so probably Amon-Ra.
I am too. So I don't know if I would put him number 5 or not, but so let's just go with your list. How many of those 5 won in Biletnikoff?
Just one.
Just Chase, right?
Yeah, just Chase. I believe.
I don't
just had the Biletnikoff
give a rat's ass about awards. I'm just saying.
Yeah, especially in college. Yeah, it's just Chase. Chase is the only one.
The Heisman Trophy winners that I can think of off the top of my head that played for the Saints, obviously George Rogers and Reggie Bush. But there was also Danny Werfel. Didn't Danny Werfel win the Heisman Trophy?
Technically, Reggie Bush didn't win a Heisman.
Bullshit.
Do you ask the Heisman Committee?
I'm not asking the Heisman Committee.
No.
He won the Heisman Trophy. As well he deserved it. And I think, what was the kid out of Iowa State? Was it Troy Davis? He was second in Heisman Trophy. Wasn't Troy Davis? I looked that up. Troy Davis, Iowa State. It's Troy something. I think it was Troy Davis.
Troy Davis, Iowa State.
He's second. I think he was second in Heisman Trophy voting, and he didn't do jack squat. So I don't care what these guys.
College awards mean
they mean nothing when you get to the pros, and I mean nothing. Mark Ingram won the Heisman.
Mark Ingram did win the Heisman.
They're saying Mark Ingram won the Heisman, so there's another one. He was actually good. I believe. So, but still, Mark Ingram was a fantastic Saint. You put him up there; he's one of the top 5 Saints running backs in history
as well. So anyway, I just wanted to run through this Biletnikoff. The Biletnikoff award doesn't really mean anything.
Okay. Thank you, Mark. Hart. Thank you, Mark. Calvin, I appreciate it. Earl says he thinks that the issue over conditioning and less actual football. I mean, I really do think that could be the issue. But anyway,
I'm not going to say
another show. We could spend a whole show on that. We probably won't, but we could spend a whole show on that. All right, let's talk about. By the way, I did not NFC North. Both y'all's picks are combined. I forgot to do an NFC North, just UBN. But I'm going to start with UBN's picks of the AFC North.
Oh my God.
He's got Bengals, but he's got all unders.
under for he thinks the AFC North sucks, but he's picking the Bengals. He's got under 10.5 for the Bengals, under 10.5 for the Ravens. Then he's got the Steelers. He's got the Browns. All unders. Under 10.5 for the Bengals, under 10.5 for the Ravens, under 8.5 for the Steelers, under 5.5. He's in the air. He says he can't wait to go back and watch me rail on his picks. I'm not going to rail on him. I'm just going to say, I mean, you can't
agree with the order.
You just can't pick all unders. It's not going to just, whatever. Anyway, so that leads us to Gabe. You got the same order. You got over for the Bengals at 10.5. You got over for the Browns like me at 5.5. Go ahead, talk about your picks.
Do you know how many seasons under 5.5 wins the Browns have in the last 8 years?
How many seasons? Repeat that. I'm sorry, I lost.
How many seasons have the Browns won fewer than 6 games in the last 8 years?
How many times the Browns have won fewer than 6 games?
One fewer than 6 games.
Well, I know they had 2 winning seasons, so that's a couple of them are out. They stunk last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 1 last year?
No, 2.
2.
The last 2 years. Those are the only 2 years that they've gone under. They've gone under 6 wins. I think they downgraded at coach, but I also think they upgraded almost everywhere else on the field. They get Quinshon Judkins back. I really like the weapons they have on offense. I really like the defense that they've put together. It's not as flashy without Myles Garrett, but Verse is fantastic. They've got depth in the secondary. Schweinsteiger is a fantastic linebacker. I really think the Browns could scrap together like 6 wins. And as you alluded to earlier, everyone is on the under there. So I'm just going for the over.
Yeah. By the way, hold on. You hater. You're just saying 6 because you're hating on the Browns. But here's their records the last 6 years. Now, they stunk. The last 2 years, they've been absolutely awful. 5-12, 3-14. Before that, 11-6, won the division. Oh, no, I'm sorry. They went to the playoffs. They were second in the division. They lost in the wild card round. The year before that, they were 7-10. Okay, not good by any stretch. But they were 8-9 the year before that. Year before that, they were 11-5. So, come on. You can hate on them all you want, but they haven't been that bad. And again, another reason why I'm telling you, I know Atlanta's got their issues, but Kevin Stefanski is a really good coach. Watch out. And I agree that they do take a step back coach-wise, but I just don't think they're as bad as everybody thinks they are.
No, I agree with you. As far as the Bengals, I agree with you for the schedule. I think their schedule shapes out a lot nicer than anyone else in this division, really. The Steelers, I'm not a Mike McCarthy fan. I'm not an Aaron Rodgers fan.
No.
I think their offense is fine elsewhere.
It's okay.
Yeah. Their defense will be okay. They'll be pretty
It's just
good,
okay. Everything's just okay.
Everything in Pittsburgh is just okay.
And then they're getting older on defense. They're like
not only that, Mike Tomlin has fought tooth and nail to get that team to the playoffs every year. And I just think this is the year that they miss.
Yeah.
I think
it won't be a coincidence.
His absence is going to be felt. And I think they need to take 1 or 2 steps back before they move forward. The Ravens, I agree with you said. I think they're like 1 injury on offense, be it Lamar, Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers away from being a total disaster, a one-dimensional offense. And I just don't see. I see them winning 9-10 games. I still think they finish second, but
John, you are correct, sir. Saints fans should worship the Browns for saving us from Deshaun Watson, the worst deal in NFL history as far as trade capital and cap space. I mean, whether it is actually the worst trade or whatever in history, it's pretty damn bad for sure. So anyway, that's where we are. Hart says he thinks Pittsburgh wins 8 games, most average team ever. I'm just telling you, I think Aaron Rodgers gets hurt sooner rather than later. He's not like Tom Brady, 42-year-olds or whatever it is. They get hurt. They are not subhuman. He's already proven that he can't last. I think he gets banged up. I don't think he rushes to get back. I think he's in it for the long goodbye or whatever it is, so he can wave his hand to everybody because that's who he is. Wants everybody even though he's like goes off in his mountains and does namaste. If you don't think Aaron Rodgers doesn't want people to look at him, you're crazy. And I think that the Steelers win like 6 games. I think they win 5 or 6 games, and I think they finish at the bottom of this division.
I will say there was a comment from from Brian earlier that I wanted to address, and it was on the Ravens. And I took issue with one thing that he said. I can't find the comment now, but he said
just paraphrase.
Lamar Jackson isn't the same, but Lamar Jackson was first team All-Pro.
I don't know why it wouldn't be the same, and he's still 28.
He was was the first team All-Pro quarterback last year, and he, by all accounts, was robbed of the MVP award. So this is the
29. Lamar Jackson's 29.
Jackson that we've seen.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson.
That was my only issue with that.
He's younger than Josh Allen, and at some point he's going to. At some point he's going to not be able to be the same quarterback, because quarterbacks who rely heavily on the run, just like running backs, they start to break down at some point. He's not there yet.
A lot better with his arm, though.
He's 20. Oh, yeah, there's no question. I'm not questioning that at all. All right, let's move on to the NFC North. Again, I made one slide here, so just going to talk about UBN's picks first. He's got Green Bay at the top, and I'm not doing it anymore. I've stopped betting on Matt LaFleur. I am not sure that Jordan Love is as good as I originally thought he was. I think he's good. I think he's good, but I don't think he's as good as Caleb Williams. And so, and I don't think the Packers are as good as the Lions. So
can we just take a second to appreciate what you just said?
What's that?
Because it was less than 2 years ago on this very show that you said you don't think Caleb Williams would be in the league in 3 years' time.
Hey, man, got to give the man credit.
The 180. I respect it.
Got to give the man credit. Some of the things what he did in that playoff victory last year. Look, the Bears were just a couple ticks away from being a Super Bowl kind of team, and so I got to give him credit. I just don't think. I think the combination of Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams, when it comes down to brass tacks, I think they're going to screw something up. Just like I think Dan Campbell is going to screw something up to keep his team from going to the Super Bowl. But I think that the Lions are going to be the 1 seed in the NFC. So anyway, I think this is the best division in football. But anyway, look, would it shock me if Green Bay won the division? No, it wouldn't shock me. So I'm not calling him out, but he's got Green Bay over 9.5, and then he's got 3 more unders. He's got 7 of his 8 teams. He's got on. They can't all finish under UBN. I know he's not watching this yet. He will later. They can't all finish under. Over Green Bay 9.5. He's got under Lions 10.5. He's got them second. He's got the Bears third, under 9.5. He's just biased. He hates the Bears. I get it. And then he doesn't like. I mean, he doesn't think the Vikings are any good. I don't necessarily think the Vikings are any good either, but I think O'Connell's a fantastic coach. I'm right on the fringe with the Vikings. If they finish with 9 wins, it wouldn't surprise me. If they finish with 8 wins, it wouldn't surprise me. But I think 8 wins is the floor for this division. I think every team's going to have at least 8 wins in this division, unlike the NFC South. Go ahead, Gabe. Talk about yours.
I can definitely see that. I'm going to just echo everything you said about Detroit. I went into this similar to other teams when we've done this, and I'm like, man, I want to, it's most similar to Philly, in my opinion. I went in just thinking, man, I want every reason to pick against this team. And then I saw the schedule.
Exactly.
As far as the schedule goes in this division, Detroit's got it tailor-made.
You can't pick against them.
I think they win the division rather easily.
Yeah, and look, when people pick numbers and pick their order, I know this because I talk to people all the time about this stuff. They don't ever think about it, like very rarely. Besides the degenerates who actually do it somewhat for a living or whatever it is, people don't think about schedules. That doesn't matter. That's not fun. They just think about how good a team was. What have you done for me lately? Or they love certain draft picks, and that's why they're going to be better. They never say they start out with X as their schedule, and it matters. I've said this 1,000 times. When you're making over/under predictions and you're predicting the order of a division, the number one thing, the first thing you look at is, before you think about even the players, is the schedule. And the schedule matters. It's why I told you the Saints were going to have a rough start last year. It's why I thought they would have, 4 or 5 wins. They ended up having 6 because Shuck went crazy at the end. But, it's the exact reason why I like the Lions. Do I think the Lions are that much better than the Bears or that much better than the Packers? I don't really. I think they're better, but I don't think they're that much better. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is fantastic. I think they got a great wide receiving crew, but their defense is banged up. But when you look at that schedule, and we've talked about it, they have a legitimate, if not almost, I think that it's likely they're at least 6-2 at the midway point. It's likely that they're 6-2 or better, and I think it's very possible that they're 7-1.
Yeah, I agree, and that's why I have them winning the division.
And then you got Green Bay second and under 9.5, and you got Vikings over 8.5. That's a kind of little weird one.
Yeah, this was tough for me. I think this is for me assuming Josh Jacobs doesn't get suspended because he hasn't yet, but I think he will. And then I would put Minnesota.
I didn't
second.
even talk about that.
Yeah, and then I would put Minnesota second. Can I say something crazy? I think Matt LaFleur gets fired after this season.
If they don't win, if they don't go over 9.5, I think you're right.
Because if you're
what if they win 9 games, get a wild card, and then lose?
I think he gets fired.
I agree.
Because we are now going on 4 straight seasons where he hasn't won.
It's kind of like Bills territory. It's kind of like It's kind of like Bills, where the Bills were.
You heard rumblings last year, and I think if he doesn't win the division this year, I think things are going to boil over. I could see him getting fired.
Yeah.
And I don't like what's happening in Green Bay. Between the receiving core being putrid, just full of number 2s, and always getting injured. Between apparently a Tucker Kraft snap count, Josh Jacobs' potential suspension. I just don't.
I think they could be a mess.
Vibes. I don't like the vibes in Green Bay. Someone alluded to it earlier.
So this will be the season that they do win.
Right. Oh shit. And then Earl said it here. The Vikings had 8 wins last year with no quarterback. I don't think Kyler Murray's fantastic.
I still don't think they have a
Kyler Murray is a significant upgrade over.
Well, there's no question about that. But
and I think we've seen when Kevin McConnell gets his hands on, or Kevin O'Connell, when he gets his hands on a decent quarterback, i.e. Sam Darnold, he can be really good. I think they're going to be one of the better teams in this division. And then
as far as running game
concerned, the way I look at Chicago this year is the way that everyone else looks at New England. You know, everyone says New England was a product of a weak schedule last year. They're going to regress this year, but they're not saying it about Chicago. Why is that? Because Chicago is super fun.
Because they love Ben Johnson's offense, and they love Caleb Williams throwing, rolling out and throwing underhand and stupid crap like that.
They've already got injury.
It's fun. It's fun. It's fun.
They've already got injury concerns at receiver. They are aging in the backfield. I mean, I think DeAndre Swift is one of the more inefficient backs in the league.
But this One
guy's already carrying an injury, and then that defense just isn't great. And I don't think they got any better. I really do think Chicago could finish.
I don't get the over that. I mean, that's just a prime example of people remembering what happened in the playoffs last year and why the poll ended up the way the poll is. People didn't look at schedules.
That shocked me.
The Bears are just fun, man. We want to see the Bears go to the Super Bowl because they're fun. So
that makes me feel so good about picking under 9.5 for the Bears.
Hey, man.
I feel so good about it.
The general public is wrong more often than they're right, and the reason why Vegas wins a lot of money. There's no doubt about it. Okay, final thoughts here this morning as we say bye-bye.
This division was incredibly tough to pick.
Yeah, it was.
It's going to come down to a few games, but
the NFC North.
I feel comfortable saying that the Bears could finish last in that division.
Well, it might rain and get down to 72 degrees tonight, but I doubt it. I mean, who knows? I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, that's why we're putting all this stuff out there so we can revisit this in January, because I promise you we are going to have a show. We are going to have a show, whether I'm 30% right and Zach's 70% right and UBN's 100% right. Doesn't matter. We're going to have a show in either late January or maybe that week between the Super Bowl, between the championship and the Super Bowl. We're going to go back and revisit all of our picks, because next week we've got AFC and NFC South, and then the week after that we're going to make our playoff predictions, and the Super Bowl. So we got some fun stuff coming up.
Just real quick, just to kind of preview the South picks, my division winners are already locked. I don't have to debate that. Don't have to see the numbers. I know who I'm picking to win both.
I'm not going to give a spoiler alert, but I 99.7% know who you're picking.
And I'm pretty sure we agree.
No, we don't agree on the NFC
we
South. We definitely don't agree on the NFC South.
Oh, okay.
I don't think. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's at 0.3%, baby.
Yeah, okay.
We'll talk about it later. All right. I don't want to give too many spoilers.
We agree on the AFC South. Probably.
I think we agree on the AFC South. I have not 100% made my final decision on the AFC South. So I can't say for sure that we agree on I know who you're picking in the AFC South.
Yeah.
I just don't know if I'm ready to
That's fair.
I'm like torn between two teams. That's sort of torn. So anyway, we'll talk about that later. I'll see you Monday for Mono E Monday. Hope for the love of Christ, don't pull a hamstring going get water after the show. All right. See you later. All right, and y'all don't pull a hamstring typing in comments. Is everybody's fingers okay from typing in comments today? Hope no one got hurt typing in comments. Collins, have a great weekend. The grass is begging to be. We are the show of everyone who mows their lawn. It's kind of ironic because I don't even mow my own lawn, which is a lot of interesting. Earl says the Bears will be a replay of the Redskins after their crazy good. You mean the Commanders? Can't say that. Ain't there no more, Earl. It's Commanders now. Come on, man. I know. Sean, Atlanta will win 4 games this year. They will. They'll win 4 by like October by Halloween. They'll win 4. Maybe sooner than that. I'm not trying to give spoiler. It's a great show, says Alvin. Thank you, sir. We couldn't do it without you. We cannot do this without you. Speaking of, as we say bye-bye for the week again. It won't be long before we're doing Sunday Saints preview shows. September the 13th is the opener at Detroit. We will have a pregame show, and we will have a pregame show every Sunday at 9 a.m. on the same bat channels. There might be 1 or 2 that we don't have one. Like when the Saints play on Monday night, I don't think I'm going to do a Sunday night show. I mean, Sunday morning show, right? I mean, maybe we will. I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe, who knows? Maybe we will. Not even close to there, so we'll decide that later. But adding another show per week on Sunday mornings, 9 a.m., that starts on September the 13th. But right now, we're Monday and Thursday, 9 a.m. Tell all your friends they have not subscribed to our Dattitude YouTube page. Please do. Barry Ulay says he's looking forward to the Sunday shows. I am too. Look, it's going to be interesting because I'm not going to have much of a day off when football season really starts. But it's okay. It's like I always say, when you do this for a living, you go to sleep or you wake up in September or really August. You wake up in August and you don't go to sleep again until January. It is what it is. It's going to be a lot of fun. But play-by-play for high school starting up in a couple weeks. By the way, if there are any people out there looking to invest a little bit of dough into VSN Shaw broadcast. We're doing all Shaw home games. We have other Metro games. We're doing at least 12 football games, up to 14. And very good pricing. Email me, jim@jimderry.com. I'll give you a price list. I'm telling you, super cheap for what you get. But get in touch with me about that if you're interested. He's going to wrap it up for us on this Thursday. I want to thank Gabe for filling in, not only behind the scenes, but also picking up the slack. Zach couldn't make it today. He's got a broken computer. Hopefully it'll be fixed by next week. I'm sure it will be. Doug Mouton, we told you his new gig starts on Monday. Couldn't make it. He's got rehearsals for his the WWL morning news show, which he begins again on Monday. You can join us next Monday. Speaking of Monday at 9 a.m., August the 24th, where we will review what we saw in the Saints-Rams preseason game, and I'm sure anything else that happens over the weekend that we missed. Tell all your friends again to subscribe to the Dattitude YouTube page. Click the little bell to receive notifications when we go on the air live. You can also find us wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple, Spotify, and many more. Nola Man wants to know if we're going to do a fantasy football draft show. I think we're going to have a fantasy league that is going to be I'm going to invite members first. And if it doesn't fill up, then I'll allow some of the regulars to get in. We need to figure out the specifics on that, Gabe, but I don't think we're going to have a fantasy show. I just don't see how I can fit it in. It takes away. I think we'd lose too many people. So unless I just did it on the side and not did it live, or did it on a day where we don't regularly do a show, the answer is maybe, but probably not. But we will almost certainly have a fantasy league. I think Gabe and I will talk about that. He says he'll get the league set out, send a Slack invite by the end of the week. Okay, so that we'll tell you more about that later. Anyway, before we go, I will tell you this: have a fantastic, glorious, wonderful weekend. Even though the starters aren't playing, everyone enjoy the game. We'll see you all on Monday, and until then, take it easy, my friends.